Please welcome to the Nerd Herder Slumber Party. I'm J-Dub, that's Boop, and this is Nerd Herder.
Hello! I was wondering if I might trouble you for a cup of strong black coffee, and in the process engage you with an anecdote of no small amusement.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of NerdyVerse here at Nerd Herder.
I was no less prepared.
Like I said, I'm J-Dub, that's Boop. As always, you should know this by now, but if you don't, welcome. This is a late one. No, you are not late, we are, and it's because we will move heaven and earth and time to accommodate our guests.
Our beautiful guests.
You might even say we will storm Eternia for our guests, but that does sound like a lot of work. So as long as they don't request that, I'm fine with saying it, but I probably won't do it.
I mean,
so that makes sense. It's like one of those things where you're like, I would do anything for you, bro, and then they're like, hey, can you help me move? And it's like, I mean,
would you help
sure.
me steal a throne from
right?
Snake
It's like they
Mountain?
come at you with something ridiculous, and it's like, dadgummit, I didn't think you were gonna ask me that. Like,
would you get me the original Castle Grayskull?
I didn't think you took my commitment real.
You can
maybe
see
one
it.
day.
Oh, wait, it's over here.
Yeah, we have Grayskull back there as well as the family of Skelemans. Welcome all. As we said, no, you're not late. We are, but that is on purpose for our guests for this lovely
No
episode.
dolphin about it.
That tonight, because yeah, we were supposed to do this last week, but that was our fault. And so luckily our lovely guests were willing to renegotiate and reschedule. And so here we are and excited to be here. Boop, we've done it again.
You know me?
We've done it again.
Yes.
We have convinced people that we are professional podcasters, when in fact we have just made excuses to hang out with our friends.
Here's the thing. I don't think that they are fooled in the slightest. I think they just like us.
Right. Well, maybe so. I hope so, because look.
Their poor decisions are not my problem.
They decide.
You stop nodding in the back room, Chris.
Look, any excuse to hang out with cool people, and if like two other people want to listen to that, then you know what?
Whatever.
Cool.
Man.
Kevin's into it. Did you let Kevin out?
No.
I could have sworn we kept him in the closet.
Kev?
We'll have to check on that.
I don't hear the scratching anymore. I think he either ran out of food or got an.
I know we've got to clone Michael again. Look, the Nerd Herder backstage is a mess.
A normal amount of eyes this time.
I'm working on it.
He only needs 2.
It's a very specific formula. Nonetheless, clearly they've escaped. There's a good reason why they're not our guests this week. But we do have some lovely guests with us. Welcoming back friend of the show, because it's been a long time. I'll start with the lovely Gerry.
The beautiful Gerry.
Hello,
my bean brother.
Listen, hey, yes, Beanie Brothers, exactly. Listen, I've heard a lot about this backstage at Nerd Herder Academy and all kinds of things like, cloning, dark science, secrets only the Nerd Herder cast know. Yeah. It's wild back there. It's wild and esoteric and Lovecraftian, some might say.
Right? Yeah, we had one guy in charge of it, then J.J. Abrams killed him and took over the project, and ever since it's gone to heck.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. We're trying desperately to get Rian Johnson back, but he's just so tied up with his own procedures and whatnot.
He's taken his knives out.
Joel,
taking them out.
I have to say this for the internet. Don't read too deeply into anything I just said. I love The Rise of Skywalker. Don't take it personally.
We're due.
But
I take that personal. No,
right. Oh, the curse of the internet. But no. Yes. We talked about it off camera. You mentioned it. It has been a long time, buddy. But
too long.
Yes. Well, whose fault is that?
Mine?
I don't know. I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to
remind myself of Gandalf, like two of them.
Right. I just wanted to sound like I have authority for a second, but no. Nonetheless,
all the authority.
Yes.
You're here. Glad you're here. And
Glad to be here.
Any excuse really to get you here, but I'm glad you were into this one. We helped you check off a box on your nerd card apparently for this one.
Yes. Yes, listen, I have a few of those. Believe it or not, I am a nerd, but I have a lot of holes in my game, so I gotta work, they gotta tighten those screws a little bit, it's a little
Job
too
security,
loosey-goosey,
man.
sloppy Joe right now. So
Job security. It just keeps you in the biz, man. Keeps you in the business.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yes.
Lord.
As
That's the
long as
word, the biz.
Ghostbusters is making content,
There will
Gerry
be a
will be a
Gerry.
nerd.
And speaking of the business,
To do an animated show and an animated movie and another movie. And continue. Bring the other guest on.
We have the one you might say is the business backbone of the Broaxium crew, a familiar face, and one we could not approach an 80s stylistic action cartoon without including. We have the lovely Chris. Chris?
Don't interrupt his reading time.
I don't think he knows he's on the show.
Such words of wisdom.
Exactly.
From
Is
Skeletor.
it just pages and pages of Nyeh?
It's just one long.
There's so many. There's so. It's amazing, Boop.
Hey, man.
You need this book.
I do.
I will make an audio book for you, Boop. I will just read it all in Skeletor's voice. It's going to take me a bit because it's a throat shredder. But
Broaxium
I can do
Patreon content right there. Yeah.
Oh, don't do.
Yes. Broaxium stretch goal. One chapter for every $5.
Please. I will make multiple accounts.
$5,000. Chris will read it to you from a Camtono. So anyway.
Yes. That you don't get to keep apparently.
No.
If you're into the Star Wars news, you know what we're talking about. If not, you're not missing out.
You can't keep the Camtono?
No, that's not part of the deal.
Stop. All right. So
you see that's an actual prop, my friend.
Come on. No. $5,000?
So $5,000.
You do get to shake the stagehand's hand.
Right.
Who brings it out to you though.
You get to give him a kiss on the lips.
You get one cocktail.
Who is the stagehand? Is it Hayden Christensen?
I
Anthony
hope
Daniels.
So. There's no way they're making $5,000 drink thing worth it. Like, there's no way.
No.
How big is the drink?
So you get one full cocktail and 3 shots. And including that, you get a water bottle, a backpack, and some like exclusive merch. And you also apparently get this like extravagant exit. Like they make this big entertaining special exit when you disembark. No,
you should get a car.
You should get a car.
Special
you
exit.
Get a car.
You should
this dummy spent the $5,000 on the drink. That's the
Pedro Pascal should bring you that. So for anyone not listening or for not up and up that is listening, excuse me. Just Google Star Wars Disney $5,000 cocktail.
Google $5,000 drink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like and just join in the madness that has been Star Wars news for this week.
Yeah.
Now, if I had listen, as much as I'm talking shit, sort of, I'm like this. I said this on Kyle Guitaran's post. I was like, that drink needs to be 87,000 liters, and every sip must change my life for the better. Like every sip.
I was gonna say it better be the size of that mug of beer they bring out in the first Flintstones movie with John Goodman. Yes. Like it better be that freaking big.
You know what? I would settle for just having one shot with Ewan.
Yes.
Because I don't know, but like every time he's got alcohol in Star Wars, it's just
$5,000 experience.
He's got a lot to talk about, and I want to be there for
it. I'd want to be there with like my hand-picked all-star cast for Star Wars.
Like something.
I need Boyega there. I need Giancarlo Esposito there. I need Carl Weathers there. I need James Earl Jones there.
Okay.
Billy D, of course, Tim Huerta. Ewan, Hayden, Moses, everybody. George Lucas would have to be there.
Oh yes.
George Lucas would have to
George
be there so
standing awkwardly by the wall like that meme, like they don't know that
George
I created their entire world.
Exactly.
He's over in the corner staring at me like,
oh,
I made all your careers.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
maybe
a
I think you would
lovely
be nice.
Star Wars is. But we're not here to talk about Star Wars.
No.
No. Clearly,
You know,
there's enough happening.
I was explaining to the guys at work. I was like, "Yeah, I'm going on a podcast tonight. I'm going on a Star Wars podcast tonight to talk about Masters of the Universe."
Yes, I love how confusing we've gotten because we've got so many people that like are only on the fringes of like they know we podcast,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so every now and then they'll just be like, "Oh, you're podcasting this week? What you talking about?" You know,
He-Man.
Kenobi, and it's just like, "Oh, Masters of the Universe
He-Man.
Revelation," and they're like, "That's not Star Wars." I was like,
Okay.
Not
"No,
supposed to be. It could be.
we talk about
Just
stuff
tell-
we like."
It was inspired by.
That's
Exactly.
I
true,
told my
and you-
coworkers this week,
for
like,
that.
hey, you want to go out Wednesday? No, man, I got to binge Masters of the Universe Revelations
we
tonight.
gave
I've
Gerry
gotta
homework.
binge it.
Oh wow, is it's your first time watching it? Like this week?
Literally, first
I watched the first half. I'd seen the first episode of the second half.
Uh-huh.
But I basically watched all the way through,
Mm.
and
Oh,
great experience.
Good
Just
so
stuff.
good.
Yeah, and so in the ever confusing
an
journey
easy
that is
binge.
Nerd Herder, we continue to include all things we love. Star Wars is the first love of our heart, but when they start selling $5,000 cocktails, we just need a break. You know, we just got to walk away for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so,
Blue shrimp, $5,000 cocktails.
Stop! You stop! It looks delicious.
it's so, but you know what? Mark
I'd
Hamill's
eat it.
in this, so I think it counts somehow. You know, but yeah, so Masters of the Universe Revelation. We already had this episode on the docket. I'm gonna go ahead and say we had this for a while
Yes.
before any talks of a second season or sequel. I'm not really sure how to categorize it
I think it's supposed to be a second season.
because there's this thing now where they're not doing just Netflix seasons of shows; they're doing parts. I mean, like even the new Stranger Things is doing that, where it's a season, but it's a part of a
It's a
season.
volume.
And so
Didn't that-
technically, this
Didn't
is
the rest of
season
it come
one.
out today?
I think it's
Yes.
supposed to. Yeah.
I'm gonna attempt to start it. Would have let you. I should be sleeping because again, I have my 5-year-old with me, and she does
Gerry.
not wait. She does not wait until the sun comes up to get up.
Right.
So.
It's going to be a while before I take that journey. I'm still on episode 2 of season
One.
1.
Damn.
Yeah. I've watched half of season
a
one.
little behind, just a little,
just a
you
little
know,
bit.
just a little bit,
but-
behind there, man.
But
Right.
yes. So whatever Netflix is doing, whether this is a sequel or a new season, a season 2, whatever, Masters of the Universe Revolution is coming
Yes.
at some point. It was announced not with any details or anything, but probably
It's
next
news
year.
to me. Sorry.
Really?
I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. You're gonna get my reaction. Revolution. I thought you mispronounced. I'm like, no, it's revolution. I was like, oh.
Oh, I wish you would like actually me on that.
Oh,
I'd
I
be-
don't actually. No, I just quietly judge you
That's
and
fine.
let you drown.
How Christian of you. It's
Well, I'm agnostic. It's fine. It's whatever.
oh, the mess. See, this is why we don't do late Nerd Herder episodes.
I'm having a great time.
But
Hi,
now we
everyone.
have all the more reason to talk about this because it is getting a sequel. So we will end out with looking forward to that, but obviously before that we have to look back because this is roughly a year since it came out,
Roughly.
which is mind-boggling. This whole last year, the past 12 months has flown by, and looking back a year later on this show is just evidence of that for me. And so time is wibbly wobbly, man. I can't keep up. If you had asked me, I thought this came out 3 months ago. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Time isn't real these days.
I
It's
know
a flat circle.
I know we rewatched it a few months ago. I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna go ahead and preface leading up to this because it had been so busy. Because we were gonna rewatch, and then Boop got sick, and then this week has been hectic.
Mhm.
So no rewatch. So I was looking for like quick little recaps to try and refresh on moments from both parts of the season and everything. And I had to sift through so many things that are like you would have thought I was looking up something on Star Wars YouTube, like so much.
Oh man,
negativity.
it's so convoluted in
Oh.
every facet of the fandom. Like I'm looking for Star Trek stuff. Oh,
Yeah, you got to
I have
wade
to
through so much.
wade through
like-
so much of the original series.
You gotta filter through
Fans and
people
their
being like,
hatred for
"Oh,
anything new.
Too many women in my Star Trek. Like, oh my god, like
Now, what kind of idiot would
That's
say
an
that?
I
inside joke.
laughed and laughed at the number of women by Star
Like,
Trek.
God. And it's just like, it's funny the language. It's funny the language. I saw so much that were like, oh, they lied to us. You know, that
Yes.
felt
Specifically to you,
so
Jeremy.
betrayed
We're talking about the
They
title.
lied. I
Yeah,
feel like
well, okay.
Skeletor is saying that. You know,
in general, like people offended that, like, oh, this isn't He-Man's show. This isn't about like
Right, because it says Masters
He
of the
woke.
Universe.
Right?
Exactly.
it's never been just He-Man's show.
No, it's Skeletor's show.
Well, I mean,
Technically, yeah.
That's right, Boop.
I wish that we'd gotten a little bit more of the Nyeh from Mark with his Skeletor, but
The man who
I
invented
do
the Nyeh.
I do love it, and I will go on record. That was the big draw for
Yes.
me. Like as soon as I saw the
Yeah.
cast for this, I was like, oh, I am in. I am so in.
Star-studded.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
would
a
never
great cast.
seen anything with Master of the Universe before.
Incorrect, but sort of.
I was like,
So
oof,
Oh
like,
yeah, I forgot about that.
so that does lead to the beginning. So before we dive feet first on our battle cats into this conversation of Revelation, I figured
Panthers.
yes, the starting points were important.
Cringer, my boy.
Where we began.
or
So we kind of
Panthers.
teased it.
I like Panther.
This being very new for Gerry and whatnot. I know, Chris, you're very classic with this and everything, but
I'm
I
old.
figured, you know, talk about that. Like for you, obviously, the original show was your introduction.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
was that? I mean, we recently had you on talking about Transformers. That was obviously a big deal for you. Was that on the same level as Transformers
Yes.
for you back in the day?
Yes,
Yeah?
absolutely, absolutely. I don't remember when it, like, I know it was 82 when it came out. All I know is I had to get home from school as fast as possible for 3:30 Channel 29 Philadelphia so I could watch He-Man. The show was so good. It was like, even back then, where it was like, you know, it was episodic and it had like, you know, your PSA at the end.
Yeah.
But like, I loved the
Right.
it did have a Star Wars feel to it, but and it's one of their influences, of course. But you know, I love that mix of magic and science and sword and
Yeah.
sorcery and all that stuff. It is such an amazing world, and like, you know, super colorful, and it really just like captured my imagination. I loved all the characters and stuff. And the one thing I wondered about on Eternia is we've never seen a gym, and I'm just wondering, how is everyone so yoked up? Like, how is everyone so
CrossFit.
huge?
Right.
Is that
Steroids.
all the push-ups in the world are not gonna make
Lots of tractor.
everyone's a
tires.
Mr. Olympia
You know?
finalist. I don't understand it. But,
Cardio.
God bless
yeah.
him.
Like, you know,
Squats.
like nerdy scientist guys are like jacked and
Right.
yeah, but you know,
The
that's
names.
that's
Something to
80s.
do with the atmosphere.
It's
I'll
what's
tell you,
funny.
he's breathing the roids.
It's
Exactly.
funny because Boop is joining me for a rewatch of Transformers Prime, which is a more recent Transformers iteration.
I'm loving it
And
so far, honestly.
there's
You
a
put
lot
that
of
face
gay
away.
subtext, so it's
Yes,
great.
there is.
But what I love about it is it copies off of the Bay films in one area, and that is that their Shockwave is like yoked to heck. But he's still the scientist that he's always been. So it's like this like 50-foot tall, like ginormous scientist. And it's just the funniest thing to me when scientists are swole. I didn't know that was my brand, but apparently it's my brand. So
Hey, my
you know,
brand
big
is
brains,
Gay
big arms.
Transformers.
That's what I'm about. That's what I'm about. But yeah, like you know, I do think the mix of fantasy and sci-fi was what made it unique back in the day, made it something that took off. Because of that era, I think everything that stuck, that was thrown to the wall in terms of kids publications, were the things that did something similar but in a new way.
And also toys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me tell you,
Lots of
but-
toys.
But
Oh,
I will
man.
argue, and maybe
toys.
Chris
It's
can
so
speak
many.
to this. I would argue that you know that's often a thing. Like Star Wars is made to sell toys, Transformers is made to sell toys, Masters
They're
like
good toys.
literally everything is made to sell toys. But I'm telling you, and I've seen this. Like it doesn't matter if you've got toys and even cool toys. If your property sucks, it's not going anywhere.
No.
Like
Right.
nobody's
Master
buying
of the
it.
Universe
Right.
is awesome.
and that's so like everybody always makes that comment, and I'm not saying that you were obviously joking, but I just mean like it's like yes, the toys, but the show was good.
Yes.
You know, you got to have good content
Hey,
for your toys.
Listen, those commercials for those toys were amazing.
Oh yeah,
Those
man,
30-minute commercials were amazing. People can bash them for being toy commercials all they want. They were awesome commercials, and we were riveted and
dude.
into it. So.
Commercials used to have a production value. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, they did.
So, but for Gerry, for you, so you managed to stay ignorant of Masters of the Universe until
Ignorant
Netflix.
in general. You know?
No, I mean wrong. Maybe not
You know,
right.
that's just like my mantra in life is stay as ignorant as
Stay
possible.
ignorant.
You know, like
It's bliss, I hear.
it's a good way to be, you know. No, so sorry, the question, like, so I did again, I grew up in I was a late 80s baby, like 1987. I grew up with Ghostbusters, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all of that. And I do remember again seeing like the toys, and even like at garage sales and stuff too. I remember specifically at a garage sale finding a He-Man action figure and going like, he's too big and lumpy. I don't want this one. Which is
like, which wrestler is this?
Right. You know, like, I mean, look at me, you know, now, like, obviously, I didn't go in for it.
Different eras.
But I know, I know, like I said, ignorant. But anyway, like I don't know. It just, I was into, again, like I never missed an episode of The Real Ghostbusters that, like, cause it was still coming out in the late 80s and everything. Like there's like a video from 1989. I'm 3 years old. I'm wearing a Ghostbusters. It's Christmas. I'm wearing a Ghostbusters jumpsuit. I got the Proton pack that year and something else. I forget. And I was a spoiled child. But just like Ghostbusters, I was honestly, that was what I was into, and everything else was just like, okay, cool. That's cool. Whatever, you know.
It was hard to not know of it, but not necessarily what you were into.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I get
Which is funny that my uber Christian parents, you know, were like, yeah, go for the Ghostbusters, you know, like kind of a thing. But
I was about to ask you that,
they didn't want
Gerry.
that much they didn't want that much nakedness in there.
They weren't
They
weren't worried you'd accidentally vacuum up the Holy Ghost or anything.
He's into bondage. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, Gerry, I was wondering about that for you. Like was it a thing where they kept that from you because, you know, they could maybe, like, you know, see some things that maybe go against their beliefs?
A man in a halter top.
So let me tell you about my parents. They have the pop culture like
that could be a series
likes that I do. Like they're the reason I am me. Okay. But with that Christian thing, so like I remember seeing Back to the Future early on. E.T. was one of my early favorite movies. They let me watch Star Wars eventually, you know, like whenever like that finally came around. I think they let me watch the original Ghostbusters. I'm pretty sure they took me because no one paid attention to ratings in the 80s.
No, of course not.
They took me to see Ghostbusters 2, I'm pretty sure, because it came out in 89. I remember vaguely being in a theater watching Ghostbusters 2 at 3 years old. So
Did you just leave the theater being like, yes, there you go.
X-Files theme plays.
Like, command me, Lord. You know, like, yeah, you know,
were they buzzing of flies to him?
But like, you know, like, again, yes, my parents very Christian, you know, very like, but like they are very like pop culture-y people and stuff. And they didn't like, I had cousins that would make fun and be like, you know, like, oh, you know, Ghostbusters is witchcraft, just to get a rise out of me and stuff. I'm like, shut up.
That's dope as
like,
heck.
Who cares? Yeah, I would like get mad and like yell at him and like, no, it's not, because like I had this whole theory. It's like, well, you know, when Judgment Day comes, the dead are gonna rise, and they're like, you know, I'm gonna then I could be a Ghostbuster. In first grade, they did for a local paper. One of the people in my class, his parents ran a newspaper and said, hey, first graders, draw a picture of what you want to be when you grow up and stuff. Guess what I drew? Ghostbuster. It was like doctor, lawyer, you know, policeman, all firefighter, all that, and Ghostbuster.
It's a legit profession, bro.
I
It
was
is.
the lone Ghostbuster,
The
and so
ghoul-based
like
character.
I'm
I mean,
true to
technically,
brand.
those are called exorcists now, but like, I mean, it does exist.
Jerry, we're gonna
Hey,
need
man.
to start a side hustle.
I'm a
I think you'd look
scientist.
good with a collar, bro. Just saying. Isolate
Glad
that
to see.
audio.
Happy
All right.
Pride Month,
And-
everyone.
a man of the cloth. I
Oh
think I
my
look
God.
better in a gray jumpsuit.
All I
you
know
know?
is when Revelation breaks out, I'm gonna get that man a vacuum.
Exactly.
What
Come here,
about
Uncle Steve. You know.
what about you, Boop? I mean, I kind of know, but
Yeah,
I have
you
to
do.
pretend like I
I'm-
don't know for the content.
I mentioned it a little bit last live episode, but my first exposure to the Masters of the Universe in general was the movie. It's Dolph Lundgren.
Still
Just
good,
lingering
man.
around.
I don't. I'm. We're gonna disagree on this, Chris, but it's still good, man. It's
Um,
good in a different way. Good in a
I
different
don't,
way.
I don't, I
Campy.
don't hate that movie. I don't hate it.
I just loathe
It's just no. It's just
It's not the cartoon.
once it went to Earth, I was like, this is dumb. I was
Yes.
11. You know what I mean? Like, this is dumb.
Hey, it's
Where's he
on
turning
HBO.
it?
If you want to rewatch it, bro, give it a
Oh,
shot.
Listen.
Hey, you know
there's
what
a
I
lot-
learned this
oh,
week? His mom's from Earth. So
Yes.
Yes,
just
Yes, she
saying.
is.
Just
Yeah.
saying.
That-
I
that's-
didn't know
that's-
that.
That's, that's from back in the old show too.
well, that's
Dude, I
what
went like, wait, what the hell did you just say?
Yeah.
that was one of the
I like
things,
had to
well,
rewind.
that was one of the things that I like thought was interesting is this respected technically all Masters of the Universe previous property.
Yes.
Like it was like the first couple of seasons of Clone Wars where Dave Filoni was like, "Hey, we're not going to mess with the animated
Everything
stuff.
is
I
real."
like that. I don't want to mess with that." And then he went and messed with it later.
It'd be like
But,
that.
So who knows what
Disney.
Revolution will do? But Revelation respected literally the show and the movie. I thought that was really interesting. But
Yeah.
I will say, so I watched it as a kid. I remember really, really enjoying it, and I'll explain why. But I had to rewatch it recently after I learned it was on HBO, and I wanted to know, do I still like this now that I really am in and like Masters of the Universe again? Where do I fall on this movie? It's entertaining as heck.
It is.
It's a lot of fun.
I love
it's a
camp
multiverse,
so
man.
much.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I can
it's its own
respect
thing.
camp.
Thank
It is
God.
exactly. It's something to enjoy in and of itself.
A
So
dude running around in furry underpants.
so you
Who doesn't love
and,
that?
and perfect use of Dolph
That's already
Lundgren at
Master
the
of the
time,
Universe.
for sure.
Perfect.
So sell me a newbie who is like, why should I watch the Masters of the Universe movie?
Frank
Dolph Lundgren.
Langella.
Yes.
Oh, his Skeletor is amazing.
Frank
is.
Langella.
Skeletor,
What?
literally,
Frank-
Frank Langella is Skeletor?
Yes, he
he-
is.
literally the
I
best
think
part
I
about the
knew
movie.
that,
Gerry.
but I'm
Gerry.
rediscovering this right now.
Frank
Sir,
Langella put his everything
He did.
into that
put his
role.
whole skeleton.
He put his
How dare you make the same joke I was about to make
he-
Sorry, I'm sorry.
God,
on my own
But
damn
yes.
podcast.
he did. Dolph, you know, he has some. There's like one line my brother and I like to this day. My brother's like 52, and I'm shut up, Boop. I know how how old I am. But we will whenever we talk about that movie, there's this one line that Dolph says, and I think it's when he's getting taken away by Skeletor, like right before it gets back to the good stuff, going back to Eternia. And he says, "No, Tila, this is our fight. I don't want innocent people to die." Like he says it just like that. I don't want innocent people to die, but he says it. Ugh. I was like, that's the take you guys went with. That was the one. That was like, yep, we got it.
Yeah.
Have you ever met guys who save the universe? They talk just like that. Like,
It's
no,
true.
I guess not.
Well, that movie, I mean, we could probably talk about that movie a good bit because I mean, there's this
Yes.
whole thing. I feel like if it had the right amount of money and the right production,
That was the
and,
problem.
like, there's a lot of things that could have made this so much better.
Yes.
It's one of those things where it's like I'm very much, oh, this is a fun thing we ended up
Yeah.
with, but I can't not wonder what it would have been had the production been perfect.
Absolutely.
It's one of those cases,
We'll
but
never know.
they're in this habit of being like, hey, 20 years later, let's do a sequel. And I don't know, man. Dolph Lundgren has been desperate for work because he did Kindergarten Cop 2. So I think now's the time.
He did.
Let's
what?
do it again. Let's try
Hey,
again.
You know,
Cop
I
2.
can stomach DiGiorno Carmelo in The Mandalorian. like for the first season or two. So
Hey.
I'm sure I could handle Dolph Lundgren, who is not.
It
in
was
the
just
whole-
oh, Gina.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I thought at first you were saying
he got it. He got it.
I didn't want to
Esposito. I was
say
like,
the
whoa.
actual name.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we.
And so I went
They
very
shall not be named.
capitalist with it.
Yeah.
So Boop.
Yes.
We
We're back to it.
tangent of the film, but
Watch the movie.
yes.
And then I found out that we had some VHS tapes of the old cartoon series. No idea.
As you do.
I cannot remember like the plot of any of them, but I can
Neither
tell
can
you
they. Neither can they.
one thing that I remember, and for the rest of my life it has stuck with me. I love a queer-coded purple villain,
Yes.
and that was where it started. I was so enamored by the just beautiful camp that was Skeletor in general.
Yes.
I think what you're looking for is the unintended gay icon.
Exactly.
Because like it's one of those things where it's just like, I mean, even classic Starscream Megatron stuff where it's just like
Oh,
you
that
watch
was so gay.
you watch that now and you're just like, what?
He literally had a crown and a coronation, which I have right over there.
It's
Queen.
You talking about Starscream?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it was his coronation. He had to have the
Exactly.
crown and
He
an
had to have a
enormous
big
cape.
purple
He
cape.
had
And
to,
yes.
well, but
Yeah.
here's the thing. Like back in the day, it would have been this like knock to it of just like, oh, it's so gay and everything like that. But now, like what I
Good
love,
for her.
right? I love the atmosphere of just like nobody intended maybe Skeletor to be this queer icon.
It's just
but
that was
here
just
we
the
are.
80s, man.
He
Here
is
we-
at
oh,
the very least
exactly.
Cocaine.
bi.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
I mean,
So much cocaine.
It's funny because like they do let stuff like that slip when they were also afraid to call Bruce Banner in the Incredible Hulk series because
Exactly.
that sounds a little too homosexual.
was that
Let's
why
call
they
him
changed his
David.
name?
A good, strong American man named David.
What's up, Scoots?
Nick,
Nick.
you're not late.
The milk
We
daddy
started
and the
late.
Scoots.
We've only
It's
been
my
on for
fault.
half an hour.
It's my
Yeah,
fault.
you're good.
You're
It's my
fine.
fault.
Is that Gerry? Is that really why they changed his name for the show to David Banner?
That's what I heard. I forget where I heard it.
What?
Mm.
That
I
is-
think it was
if
like
that's
like
true,
in
that
an
is so
interview or something.
crazy.
Someone's like, this producer thought that sounded a little too homosexual. So
The name Bruce.
Could be gayer.
Okay,
I've
you know
met-
what?
That was the thing in the 80s where people Bruce was always used like when they wanted to talk about it, like seeing a gay guy or something like that. Like, hi, Bruce. Like that was like their
I get. Yeah,
stupid.
it
which
was
is again like
that was
why
the
like
80s.
probably animators and different people, like, you think they're like kind of putting that stuff in there or everything, or you think it was definitely unintentional?
who cares?
Unintentional.
Yeah.
I
Who
think.
fucking excuse
Exactly.
me.
Which
And not
yeah,
to say like they didn't, they can have like all those influences and whatnot, but to me it was just like that was just the 80s.
That's
well,
my full name.
and
Any
I mean, and I don't,
questions?
and I didn't mean that at you, Gerry, because I know, but I just mean like,
No.
if it's subliminal, if it's like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Classic Starscream, is
Yeah.
it a choice to make him a queer coded character? I don't think so. That's why I say like
I don't know.
unintended icon. But like there has definitely been series that have followed that they're like, we all grew up thinking he was gay, so in our
Yeah.
show he's gonna be gay.
And
Yeah.
there's an
Hmm.
entire
You know-
history of
Hmm.
queer-coded villains, and there are people who have written books about it that are much smarter than I am, and it could make a much more statement other than
Stop.
neat. But yeah,
At the end of the day, if a character's good, great, I like it. It how it mean or what it means to different people. Whatever gets you there. Like there's people that have taken completely different takes on characters and films and situations than I have because of who they are, and it's just I'm not gonna rob you of that. Like if Starscream for you is gay, if Skeletor for you is gay or queer or whatever,
man.
cool. If that's why
That's
you
great.
like this show,
Yeah.
You
And
know?
you know what? I can thank
good that you see
Skeletor
yourself
for giving
in
me
those
an
things.
affection for just absolutely over the top villains for the rest of my life. Like it's Skeletor, it's
Yes.
Starscream,
Yes.
it's Loki, it's like all of these villains that I love so much. And you know what? It's fine. And Scotty, don't listen to anything Paul says.
Yeah, please don't. For
Please.
your own
So
good.
you noticed he started that comment and
then
finished it in another one.
comment. Yeah.
Yes. I think he's there.
We did enough
Here we go.
morphine.
And
We
part
could go
2.
back to the
It's like
80s.
the Netflix series that we're talking about.
Yes. If you do enough
Steering it back.
I'm not
Steering
gonna
it
finish
back.
that statement.
So
yes, that was my introduction.
for me, no, I did not grow up on the classic series as you pointed out. The only reason, because I mentioned when we talked about Transformers with Chris and the Ghost of Daniel, that so part of the thing with me, the reason I discovered Transformers was thanks to Generation 2, which basically was just reruns of the original show. For whatever reason, for production and for toy sales, they kind of repackaged it for, there's the classic series, then there's the rerun series with extra little beginnings and endings and missing certain points and whatever. Regardless, reruns. That's why I got into Transformers. They weren't really doing that for Masters of the Universe in the mid 90s, and so I missed that boat.
Get a VHS player.
I did. I
VCR,
watched the movie, and I was like, "Wow, this is a lot of fun." Because I was discovering the world of sci-fi, fantasy, all of that, kind of like Gerry, like through my mom. Like it was so interesting how many things. Like I'm watching reruns of Transformers, and I'm like, "This is awesome." And my mom's like, "Yeah, if you want to know more, like here." She was
That's
the reason we
awesome.
went to Beaver's Video and picked up
Beaver's
Transformers
Video.
the movie, because she was like, "Hey, if you like this, you need to see this."
Head on down to Beavers. They got what you need.
She fed all of that stuff, and so because I liked the movie when the 2003 or 4 new series came out.
I think it's 2004.
I think it's 2004 when there was a
Armada.
well, no, not a Transformers. Armada was 2001.
Oh, you're talking about the Masters show?
Yeah, Masters of the
Yeah.
Universe. So
Oof.
it was in that same era.
So good. Yeah.
So Transformers
So cool.
came back in the millennium with 2001 with Armada, and that started this thing. That was the first time. Like, if we look around now, we're like, "Oh, Transformers is back. Ghostbusters is back. Masters of the Universe." Like, we already did that in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Transformers happened, and they were like, "Oh, this is still alive. Let's milk it."
Extreme Ghostbusters was incredible.
They did even but here's where they went wrong, I will say, and why I don't think it was very well received, is because they went super anime with it. And I love anime, but it was like this weird American anime mix.
Yes. They did the same thing with Thundercats.
So
They
you're trying to
did do
tell
the
me
same
that
thing
they
with
twirled
Thundercats.
the swords too much? Is that what you're saying?
Oh
Is that
my
what you're saying to
gosh,
me?
There's nothing
every
wrong with
time.
a sword
Every
twirling.
time.
I just have to take the sword over here. Let me just
Exactly.
Right, like it was so ridiculous.
No
and
reason.
Then while I liked it and it was stylized and it's super goofy now, at the time it was, I can get why it was like, oh, this is definitely not what we grew up with. So much of these 80s returns in the early 2000s were short-lived. Regardless, it was enough to get me in. And so I watched that show. I loved that show, all because my mom was like, "Hey, you liked that movie? You should watch this." And same thing, yes, for the Thundercats. They did an anime-ish version of that I really enjoyed. Voltron as
It's
well.
amazing.
Voltron, I think, did a lot
Voltron
better than
is really
most of
good.
them.
I remember being into Voltron for a hot minute, like the original back in the day, man.
Oh yeah. So when I got into it, the vehicle Voltron was what was like happening, like what was
Yep, vehicle
popularly
Voltron,
rerunning. So for a long time, that was Voltron to me. Like I didn't know of the big cats and everything. I'm like, so it was the reverse situation
Where it
for a
was
lot of
at.
people where they're like, what are these stupid cars? I'm like, what are these stupid cats?
That's dumb.
I was like,
That's
"Wait,
what. Whenever
Power
Power
Rangers?
Rangers first came out in 1993, I was like,
Exactly.
"Oh, it's like Voltron."
Well,
Kind of a thing.
so I was on the opposite side of history for that whole happening, apparently.
It's like Power Rangers.
But nonetheless, I fell in love. Now, I mean, I got the toys, all that. Like, I fell in love with Masters of the Universe then, and I was very happy with leaving it there. I really was not begging Netflix to do this series, but I was very glad
was.
they did. It turned out to be something I really enjoyed, and I was surprised mostly because as we got closer, finding out this is going to be a spiritual sequel to the 80s show. Like,
Yes.
if you ask Kevin, it's a sequel. If you ask certain other people on the production, they'll say it's a sort of sequel or a spin-off or whatever. However you want to digest it is neither right or wrong. It can exist as a sequel. It can exist as its own version if you enjoy it that way.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I was worried because I'm like, okay, I didn't like the original. I'm just gonna put out there, like, I thought it was fine for a few episodes, but it was one of those things where like it never kept me.
It's comfort.
Um,
It's so comforting.
no, hear me out now.
I'm out of here. Just
For me, it was just one of those things where it's just like I couldn't sit down and binge that like I could a lot of shows I enjoyed. It wasn't as it didn't have enough spectacle or enough like long connecting story
for the original. Oh
yeah
no, it's very episodic.
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
that was the only thing that lost me for that. And so when they're saying, hey, it's going to be a spiritual sequel to that, I'm expecting, oh, we're going to get that with better graphics, but we got way better than that.
Yes, we did.
I will say it did still manage to be different. And I think that's what I like about it is it is a sequel, but it doesn't repeat what it does before. It changes things up. It goes into new uncharted territory, which left a lot of people on the fence of either they love it, they hate it, or they just didn't know how to feel about it. So I'm curious. So I'm sure Chris and Gerry and Boop, y'all are all going to fall on different lines because y'all come to Masters of the Universe in different ways. But for you, Chris, were you into it from the get-go? Did it take some
Yes.
convincing?
No.
I mean, because it's very different.
No,
than
I
the
was
classic.
I was in. Give me any look. Like I watched the original series. I watched the 2002 series. I even watched that terrible 90s, the New Adventures of He-Man. It's terrible. Don't even look for it. And there's comic books. Please don't do that. There are comic books out there. So there's so many different iterations of it where none of it's going to be like, oh, it has to be this one. You know how like some original trilogy people are. But like it's got to be this one way. And that's the only way that He-Man should be, or how Master of the Universe should be. That's not the case. At least not for me. I don't hold on to anything like that. I'm fine with letting things grow and expand, except for those Michael Bay Transformers movies. But
except this one thing.
Except that one thing. But yeah, I loved it. I love where it was. I love where it started off. Because I can see it as a sequel or continuation of the Filmation series. I can see that. And then like it just went in its own direction after that. And I loved it. And that's the one thing people are upset that that it's not like He-Man focused, that it's Teela focused. Why not? Why not? It's a huge, just like with Star Wars, not everything has to have Luke Skywalker in it. It's a huge world. And there's so many great characters who need more shine. Teela's one of them.
Yes.
And one of the many characters better for the existing of this show. Because I mean, and I would argue, I think everybody got way more lore and depth in this show than in the original. Even He-Man, even the main title character, quote unquote, that they think this is about, is better for this series. And so I think that was the big thing for me was, regardless of differences, this took story seriously and just happened to put it in the package of a early 80s cartoon. Like, and I think it worked very well for me. Gerry, what about you? Did you, well, not being much on the original show, I don't know how much behind you that was of like, oh, this is different than I expected, or what?
You heard me screaming about it quite a bit.
So, I mean, just real quick to kind of piggyback off what you were just saying, John, like, the thing that really stuck out to me about this show is that, like, it is a very emotional, very serious story. Like, the story, they tell a very good story.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
While at the same time, again, doing this crazy lore, it was 100% like these were toys. These are toys. But again, it's kind of incredible to me that I remember like going like, okay, I'll Boo, did you say you were the one that like told me to watch it? Or
Yes, I did. I
okay.
screamed at
I was
you
like,
to watch it.
all right, you know, I'll check it out. And then I mean I was floored.
You're welcome.
Like I've cried a few times in the whole series, in the whole like all the episodes we have so far.
Yeah.
There's like, you know, I love the relationship
Tila Duncan.
between Man at Arms and Tila.
Mhm.
Also, you know, shout out to Mr. I sent like a video of Cringer going Tila, and I said when you're scrolling and you find one of Scotty's tweets, Tila.
Yes.
If you don't know Scotty
That's
about Bombadcast,
that's for the weird
he's-
face
he's-
friends.
he's-
That's a reference for us.
yes, but
And the Orko stuff, just on the topic of making me
Man.
cry.
Oh
So-
my
man.
gosh.
Well,
I
so what, giving a
accidentally
character
got
some
the
depth.
very end. I don't know if I guess we're doing spoilers or whatever.
Yeah,
Go
I mean
for
it's a year out, so
If you
Like
haven't watched it by now,
I the very end, like the big like end game episode, the
Mm.
Avengers
Yeah.
end game episode, it felt much like that.
Yeah.
When Orko shows back up, I accidentally got that because I was looking to see like how long the last episode. I forgot what I was looking for. And I clicked on the last episode on IMDb, and the picture at the top is Orko and his like Gandalf the White, facing down like a villain, and I was like, oh, out, gotta go out, because I didn't know he came back, and
that's
it was
the only one.
Exactly.
yes, but everything with Orko, everything with Man at Arms and Tila, even the reveal of the mother being the sorceress and everything was just
dude.
it was
I-
such a good moment.
I could
They-
also mixed with jokes of Fisto, you know, going
Yes.
like I'd
Yeah.
really like
was
to
like-
fist him.
I was
Which
like,
I've
God
seen-
damn, Kevin! Like when he did that,
There were so many times like that
So
where
great.
they quoted what has become memeage now, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
they know what they're doing.
That's
Yeah.
it's Morbin
Mhm.
time of that series.
But
Yeah.
so the good thing about it is like even knowing where Orko ends up, like even if you know that that's happening,
Yeah.
I think that his main episode, you know, with Scareglow and all that, like all of that emotion is still preserved, even knowing that, because it's one of those things where it's like even if you had told me, you know, back in 2015, hey, Kylo Ren's gonna get redeemed at the end of this trilogy, The Last Jedi is still gonna break me, like
Exactly.
you know. So it's like still, I will say, there's so much that even if you knew the beats, even if you kind of predicted where things were going, there were little things along the way that it's like, hey, to get there, we've got to do this thing, and we're gonna break you while we do it.
Exactly.
And
Break you
I think that's so good
lovingly.
in something that can be very formulaic for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
the way that they created, I'm sorry, Chris, you haven't talked in a while, my man. Like you're the big
Well, he's asked
Masters of the
questions, so I'm
Universe
just
fan.
letting when he hits me.
Well, like what was incredible to me again as someone who never really watched this, knew of it and all that kind of stuff. I knew the characters, pop culture. I've watched Robot Chicken, you know, like I know all the
Lord.
references and stuff.
I
Yeah,
stayed up
but-
later than I should have. You know. Yeah.
right. But to have these characters and they're ridiculous, but to create real relationships with them.
Yeah.
Especially Orko and Evelyn.
Mm,
And by the end, when Orko's getting like sucked back up into the vortex, again, huge spoilers, but these are just the moments that really stick out to me. When Orko was getting sucked into like with all the rest of the demons or whatever, like that was, I guess, conjured by, like, wasn't it Evelyn who like grabbed his hand and said, not today, or something? Like, I forget
Mhm.
what she exactly said, but I was a puddle of tears
Yeah.
yes.
at that point. I was a puddle of tears. I was like, this is so great. I love it so much. Like,
and to your point,
needed
of, like,
that.
it never stopped believing in itself as a He-Man property, as a
Mhm.
Masters
Yeah.
of the Universe property, I should say.
Exactly.
It's still it all still exists within its context of stupid names and weird gimmicks
Yes.
and
Skunk
ridiculous
man
story,
looking like a dummy.
but they managed to make all of it matter, and I
Mhm.
think that's the thing, is it's like you don't have to change everything. Sometimes you can work with what you've got and just give it a little bit more heart.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that's what I enjoyed that this did. I didn't expect any of what we got for sure, and I think that's what kept me hooked the entire time. Is every episode just added more
Mhm.
of this. I don't know where we're going, but I'm on this ride, man. I just I was very invested in everything we got and entertained by the package it was delivered in.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite things while we were watching was pointing out characters and being like, "Guess what his name is?
Right,
His name is Jujitsu."
because you like it for the goofy.
I do. That's my favorite part. Like
I
the
kind of loved it as well.
ridiculousness. Like that's what makes the show, well, the original show for me, is the wacky goofs and the convoluted plots.
Mhm.
That's the best part of any
So
old show.
for you, it probably wasn't a lot about like, oh, this isn't just He-Man and Skeletor fighting and then ending
Yeah.
with neck time. It wasn't probably breaking that formula for you, but like,
Mhm.
were you taken by surprise with how forward Skeletor was? Because even as a faux villain, he was still largely the main villain
Yeah.
of this.
He was a big deal.
Yeah, like, and what I mean is like he's not just a foil like he is in the classic show. It's just like he doesn't exist just so we have the next episode.
No, he's not the 60s Joker where
Yeah.
like he gets foiled every
Yes.
single episode and he has this huge convoluted plot.
So with that, were you happy that we got a Dark Knight version of this where it's just like, no, we're gonna make him serious?
That is an excellent way to put that. Yeah, oh, listen, man. I have been committed to this show since we got that first trailer with I Need a Hero. I was
that told
on
me
board.
everything I needed to know about
Exactly.
this show.
And watching, the visuals that we were going to get, and I was just so pumped to see what they were going to do with these characters. And, at the end of the day, the soundtrack was going to be amazing either way, which it is. And as soon as I learned that Mark Hamill was going to be Skeletor, I went from pumped to foaming at the mouth on the floor and just so jazzed.
I loved what he brought to the role for sure.
He did so much excellent work with Skeletor. And honestly, I don't think any other modern actor could have done it like he did.
My favorite thing was how many times they got him to say boob.
Exactly. Which
Chris
you gotta
definitely.
get.
Chris
You gotta
missed his
get at least
calling.
one boob in there.
It was just so funny how like I felt like it had to be a reoccurring joke of like how many times can we get him to use this?
Yes. And how much work they did with the character of Evelyn, who I will be honest was not one of my favorite characters because her personality was essentially girl, as it was in most 80s.
Girl,
And
but
he's
evil.
talking the filmation run. She was girl Starscream.
Yeah, exactly.
Always
Like-
looking to she was loyal to him as far as to an extent, but it was always about getting more powerful, taking him over. I mean, all those villains, they were never they were
Yeah,
No. They were never
they-
gonna
taking
they were
each other over.
dethrone.
It was just
What was the goat man and pig boy that showed up towards the end? Cracked me the heck up.
Oh.
Like when they're like showing up, like, oh, it's just goat man and pig. But just like, I'm sorry.
I know
Just
what
like
you
thinking
mean.
about the villains and everything there. Just like, yeah, but they still had that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, anyway.
Yeah, the unexpected moment between Evelyn and Beastman.
Oh, Beastman.
Yeah, that was
very good.
excellent. And what they did for her character in general, giving her so much depth. Like I'm gonna be honest, the show had me like wife.
Like what I enjoyed was, I mean, we got our wish fulfillment in like big spectacle in modern animation in the first episode, like the He-Man versus Skeletor stuff in the first
Yes.
episode.
Oh, and so
Great.
well done. The fight scenes were beautiful.
It existed as a setup for the rest of the story. That
Mm-hmm.
that has to happen. That very traditional formula has to happen in
There
order.
needs to be a storming of Castle Grayskull.
Right. And so, but then it opens up, and the torch is passed on both sides. So, like,
Yep.
it's Tila and Evelyn's show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sacrifice character development for any of the other major characters. It's just that we exist through this story from their journeys.
Yeah.
And I think that was the smartest choice they could have made because and I think the joke is there and can be made. Adam and Skeletor are very superficial characters.
Yeah.
Like even they needed development from this series.
Yes.
And they got it, but there was only so much that could be done for them. They're largely just they are the tool of either side, right?
Exactly.
We wanted to focus on who wields the tool and who's behind the tool, and so we have this full cast of all kinds of heroes and villains. So let's focus on them. I think that the show was better for that than just this classic retelling of the
Yeah.
original 80s,
Yeah.
haha, next time gag. I keep pointing
Yeah.
that out, but I think this did new and familiar blended very well.
Yes, Scotty, Tila.
Yes.
Tila.
Very good character.
Literally, you will like just lose your ever loving mind watching this show because it's just the whole
Exactly.
show is Tila.
It's one long Tila.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But and that's why I think the style of it takes a back seat. Like I don't think I was as caught up because they basically just, if they made the original show now in good modern animation, it'd look like this. It's just
Mhm.
that it's a different story. And so like I love that they didn't back away from the style of Masters of the Universe for
Not
this.
the slightest.
Because again, there's this idea of like if it's going to be modern, it has to be edgy and cool, or it has to be redesigned to
No,
heck.
it's colorful. It's beautiful. It's fun. Like that. It's so much fun to watch this dang show.
So do any of you think that is a thing that new shows or late sequel shows can repeat, or was that just lightning in a bottle thing for this, where it's just like, oh, we can just keep the 80s action style in a new package, or like if they do a new Transformers and they do it in the style of G1, is that somehow going to make it better, or like it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Did this magic only work for them?
I loved the style for the other Transformer, the Netflix Transformers flick. Keep progressing and whatnot with it, and just keep some aspect of G1, because that is what got that's the catalyst for all that, for every series for Transformers that came out. The same thing with Masters. They did they did a great job of keeping the aesthetic, keeping the look of Eternia,
Mhm.
turning it up a notch, updating it, doing the same thing with the characters, and giving the characters like real true connections and things to do outside of just being Skeletor's cronies, like
Yeah.
Mhm.
Triclops and Trapjaw being
Oh.
like the head of this, like these techno priests. I was like, I'm like, that is
Incredible.
amazing that he did that, because I know
That was
that
really, yeah.
that Triclops was always like he was a techno guy, and of
Mhm.
course Triclops as well. So them doing that, and then of course us finding out like what was behind all that, as far as
Yeah.
the techno cult goes, was amazing. Beastman finally having something besides being Skeletor,
Right.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And him having a purpose, and having this loyalty, or these feelings for Evelyn. Orko's story was amazing.
Mhm.
Orko's connection with Evelyn was amazing. What this did, all right. Superman is like my favorite comic book character, and what got me into yeah, Scotty, yeah, Kev killed it
Out of the park.
Mhm.
What really got me into Superman and reading the comics was when Superman died, and these 4 Supermen came in to take his place, and it was almost like a battle to see who was going to be the next Superman and all that.
Mhm.
What that story did was make me appreciate Superman even more, and that's the same thing that this series did by taking out He-Man and Skeletor early, and having the flashbacks, and they were the backbone of the catalyst for this entire show, even
Mhm.
though this is Tila's story. So it just made me appreciate them, and made their return that much more impactful, even though there wasn't a huge character change with them, but it didn't need to be, because we have all these other, I mean, I'm pretty sure with Revolution we'll get something, but
Yeah.
yeah, Yeah, I haven't seen Yoga Hosers.
You don't need to.
Yeah, it's the only Kevin Smith movie I have not seen.
Don't worry about it.
Or Cop Out. Can't do it. Won't do it.
I've seen Tusk once.
I'm so sorry.
Yoga Hoser's the one where with like the tiny sausage Nazis.
Yes.
I still want to see that because
I'm
it's just
intrigued
like, you know,
You're fine.
yeah.
I'll send you a YouTube video about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I've learned anything, I think that the pressure of making a modern thing continuing from something years before is to try and make it explicitly modern.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think there's some value in leaning into the original aesthetic and original style.
Yeah.
That's why you would be making it now, is because something about the original stuck with people, got to people, and made this what it is. And so don't abandon it full on. But also, I mean, as this show has proven, don't just push the repeat button either. Like,
Exactly.
this was familiar yet new at the same time.
Right.
And if you sat and watched it, and I get, okay, originally it was released in parts. So if you've watched the first half and didn't have the second, there's time to theorize and speculate, as there is with Star Wars week to week. But like, if everybody could just shut up until it's over with your like generalized
Watch
grandiose
the
opinions,
dang show.
You're asking for way too much.
I'm
That's
like, my goodness, like it's one of those things where it's like, if everybody would just watch all of it and then go in, it's all there.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing about this that completely rid. I mean, even if you got past the first 3 episodes of part 1, He-Man comes back. Like,
exactly.
Like
he's in every episode.
Freaking Grayskull.
That's
comes
what, like,
back.
Pretty much in every episode.
Yeah, it's
flashbacks and whatnot.
He
but
was
it's- he's
not
there.
he was not taken out of the show, and they didn't change anything about part 2 to accommodate fan reaction or anything. Like, that was the story. Like,
Yeah.
it was so confusing to me to find out how many people felt so betrayed by what was given because it was different. I mean, it's the same crap about, like, oh, I thought Han, Leia, and Luke were going to get together for episode 7. It's like, why?
Missed
Why would you think that?
opportunities. Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see those geriatric adventures? Who wouldn't want to see those?
I mean, exactly. Y'all complained about like
Slow
little old
movies.
Yoda jumping around, and you want to see Luke do the same thing? Like,
Right.
hang on, let me put down my walker and take care of this boy.
Oh, my back.
And here's the thing: I love Luke Skywalker. I love that Mark Hamill came back for his for the Last Jedi, because I think that's obviously where he gets the most emphasis as a character. But it's not his story.
Exactly.
And that's why when he comes in, it's so minimal, because like his part in this is smaller to the main cast.
And there's nothing wrong with not only modernizing but pulling focus to, other characters, making sure that they have the spotlight. It adds to the universe, for Pete's sake.
Hang on. Scotty, are you going to sleep for like 8 months? Like,
it's his hibernation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I hope I see you before then, buddy.
Honestly,
but okay, good
I'm
night.
okay with it. He needs to rest. Weddings are stressful.
I need a break.
That's his contribution.
Like,
is not.
I don't know if any of you guys have watched
I slumber.
She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Yes.
The new one.
I have
Oh my
not.
gosh,
I love it.
that show is so good. Ellie
I
would
love
love it. Jerry, there are so
I'm gonna
much
have to.
rainbows and bright colors. But that show is incredible, and so many people missed out on it.
Yeah.
Because of their stupid speculations.
Right.
And because it was something different for a new generation.
I was slightly guilty of that too, because I just didn't watch it. I just didn't. And then I forgot. I think it was 3 seasons in, like two seasons in or 3 seasons in, before I was like, fuck it, let me watch this thing. I blew through that whole. I was just like, next, and I just kept going through it. It was so good,
Man.
And it didn't, like, I was waiting for, like, is this going to link in with He-Man in some way, or like that universe's version? And like after a while, I'm like, it doesn't need to. Cool. It's its own thing, and it's great. I love what they did with it. I love what they did with all those characters. Oh man, it was so
Which
good.
even that show kept a lot of the classic aesthetic. Like,
exactly.
It's a very stylized show compared to this one.
Yes.
But nonetheless, like, it didn't sacrifice anything of the original She-Ra content.
No,
Like if you
she was awesome
you
in that show.
you could clearly see, all right, these are the same thing. I mean, and that's what I love about like this show is it's just like, oh yes, these are the same character. There's nothing
Yeah.
about any of these. Like they didn't try to make is it Stinkor?
Yes.
Stinkor. Sorry, because there's a transformer like that, and I'm like, am I thinking of a transformer? Or am I thinking of the skunk? But they didn't
Well,
like try to make him like feral and cool.
No.
Yeah, it was just J Muse.
He's just Stinker.
It was just J Muse as a skunk.
Exactly.
And I had that figure, and man,
because
that stunk up the house like crazy.
that was one of the things
Oh,
that
man.
the 2000s He-Man series did try to do was they were like, oh, we're gonna make everything like we're gonna make Skeletor scary.
Yeah.
Like they tried to.
Yeah,
They
he
tried
was
to-
he was
He's
macabre.
campy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
sacrificed the campy. They like if there was anything funny about it, it was because it was goofy, not because it was campy of that one. And again, that's why I say like I don't think it hit with audiences and why like Scotty it went to sleep for a little while until Netflix
slumbered.
and Kevin Smith came along. But yeah, I really enjoyed a lot about this. And so I figured, which it may be hard to narrow down, I'm sure, but I didn't know if you all had any one or two big things that really stuck out for you as big highlights, big favorites of this series. Because again, getting ready for this and seeing all, and still, as recently as 3 months ago, somebody was still ranting about this. Like all the
What?
negativity. Yes.
Still?
It's like,
I love how
So-
all that Last Jedi stuff has died down, right?
right.
Right?
Right. Nobody talks about that anymore. So in an effort to put out a little bit of positivity on a podcast nobody listens to, I figured we could take some time to chat about our favorite things. So, well, Poop,
Yes.
because you're right there. What are
I
some of
am
your
right here.
favorite things Revelation did?
Well, first of all, Tila.
Yes.
Love Tila.
Tila.
Wife. Very good. Very good Tila. Very good design. And then Evelyn, of course. Again. Very good design. Excellent voice. I cannot remember her name for the life of me.
It's
What's
a
her name?
Game of Thrones
Lena
alumni.
Headey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. That was perfect cast.
Perfect.
I don't think anybody was off kilter on this.
No.
I think they got the right people for this.
The voice acting was excellent in every single case.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oh my gosh. Third favorite, which of course, Skilliglow.
Oh yeah, Tony Todd, bruh.
Oh my
Scareglow?
gosh.
What- and-
Scareglow.
and-
Oh, man.
So
yeah.
good.
And
It was that was a
forgot that was
classic
him.
character. So
Yeah.
he came like when the figure first came out,
Mhm.
it came out of nowhere. No one, I was like, "That's Skeletor's cousin? Is that Skeletor? Who is that?" But I grabbed the figure, loved it, glow in the dark, all that stuff.
yeah.
But he was never in any of the other animated stuff. Maybe in the comics, but this is our first time having him like in a show
Characterize
proper,
it.
and it
Really?
It
was amazing.
It was so good.
That entire episode.
So Jerry, it is kind of like what they do when they're like,
I
all
didn't
right,
know that.
we need to keep this thriving, so we're gonna take existing toys, mod it, and come up with something
Yes.
easy.
and you get
and-
Scareglow.
Let them come up
Well,
with the story. Let the kids come up with the
Spike
story.
Ore and all them,
Right.
All
Yeah.
these,
I was just thinking, like, honestly, the first time I watched it last year, like I watched it last year when it did come out, the first half, I did think it was just Skeletor in hell, is what I just thought it was, honestly.
I mean, not far off.
And they kind of
that's
made
been going around
reference
for
to
a bit,
that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I didn't know he wasn't in the original show. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's one of those things where it's just like this side thing made to sell a toy got popular with kids,
It's
and
dope as hell.
They made him
got,
huge.
It got
in
side
this.
stories, but it never got main story.
Mhm.
Right.
If he was more accessible, I would go get him from the shelf right now to show you.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
I'll just have
it
to
was
send you a picture.
it was funny because instantly we like were
We
at each
both
other. We're like,
screamed.
oh,
That's Tony Todd.
because oh my gosh, love that man.
Yeah.
And
So
and
incredible.
perfect casting on that because it's not even just like filling the role of a voice, but like you're setting an atmosphere
Exactly.
with who you've got behind that mic.
It's-
And
Yeah.
no
Mhm.
eviler I mean, you've already got Mark Hamill doing Skeletor, so you need somebody with some gravitas
Exactly.
and evil And
And
oh
he
my
did
gosh,
such an amazing job with that. That entire episode was absolutely spectacular.
Mm.
I mean,
Shit, am I gonna watch that or Stranger Things tonight? What
you're
am I
gonna
doing?
watch that. And then
I
Stranger
want
Things.
more Tony Todd voice acting. I love it. I
everywhere.
appreciate that they've used him a few times in Transformers. Just more
More,
Tony Todd.
more Tony
Mm.
Todd.
More
I
Tony
want him
Todd.
to live forever and be
Yeah.
acting forever because
Yes.
he is a spectacular actor. But yes, Scareglow. I got. I'm there.
Get there
I have to
eventually.
get there. The confirmation that Evelyn and Skeletor do things.
stuff. Yeah.
His
They
name is
do-
Skeletor. He's got
Yeah.
bones. I don't know why anybody is surprised.
Yes, but the fact that Skeletor has genitals was a highly debated topic.
Why?
It's just the skull. The rest
the rest
is pretty
is
filled
there.
out.
Exactly. I mean, there's muscles.
I don't
Which
know why
is-
that was up
There's
for debate.
muscles.
I really
There
don't.
is muscles. But that was one moment of the show that I was like, oh,
Look, even Skeletor.
That was, I was like,
need love.
okay, all right,
Right?
we're here.
Now, here's the
This is
biggest
for
thing
grown-ups.
is
Never
like
thought I would get here at this show.
I didn't expect them to spend so much time making out because it's just like there's not a lot.
I hope this
There's
doesn't
not a
awaken
lot.
anything in
I
me.
mean,
like-
it was
Right.
awkward.
Just like I expected her to be like, "Ow, you hit me!" Like it's just
She's
it's
kissing
like-
teeth. Just,
he's a great linguist, but it's just all teeth,
yeah,
teeth.
it's all teeth. It's bone face.
Oh,
yeah,
anyway,
that's my-
magical. There's magical invisible lips there. You know,
Exactly.
like
Sure.
most luscious.
Give him a little smooch.
I mean, he
cast
is magic.
a
Technically,
spell.
he could do something. He could cast a spell. I would think, like
That's what
Right.
the Havoc staff is for.
something, right? It's just more bone.
Havoc staff is definitely a.
It's a face maker. Gerry,
Yes.
favorites. What you love,
Oh
buddy?
my goodness. I think I've kind of like already blown my load on some of these things because, like, I mean, talking about
Speaking
you
of
know,
Havoc stuff.
all the stuff with Evelyn and
Orca.
Orco. It's not Orca. That's a different show entirely.
Completely different character.
I'd watch
that's
that
a whale.
I'd watch that show.
Well, yeah, like
Same.
oh, Evelyn riding an orca. Yeah, I'm there.
No,
After
I
this,
just-
Even
I
though
just
kill a
wanna-
whale, absolutely.
I just want it to be a normal He-Man episode, and then they just like,
it's an orca.
quick, we need some magic. Orca cut to just this dying whale on land.
Oh, I think we made a mistake.
I knew we
This is
should have
horrible.
done that Wizard
Oops.
exchange program.
Merman. No.
Oh my gosh.
That was great. There's there's little moments throughout the entire series that stuck out to me again as someone who's just coming to this like not with no frame of reference except for the toys. Again, my favorite thing was just being delighted by this and entertained and all like the whole spectrum of emotions given to me from a show that is it literally sells it is about the toys in the show too.
Yeah.
Like the first episode, there's a couple vehicles that like the a couple of Skeletor's guys are rolling up and I'm like, really? All right, cool.
Yep.
Let's go. Let's
You can
roll.
see
All
the
right, that's
dollars.
you're driving a panther or something or like whatever it is, like a dragon. What is that?
The dragon, the
Um,
attack track.
This is a very
Yes.
long commercial.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like
production value.
I'm trying to like think of things that like really stick out, and it's just Evelyn's backstory
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
was I went holy like okay,
Yeah.
wow, like the whole thing her parents were gonna eat her because they were so poor, like that was I was like oh damn, okay.
Well, and that's the thing is like
Man.
you can't humanize Skeletor much, and nor should you. But they made the right choice, I think, with Evelyn, where it's
Yeah.
just like we can explain her, and I think there was a lot of value in going on that journey.
Well, I was
I-
so worried about her too when she got the power and everything, and they're like, now
Mhm.
she's the big bad. I'm like, no, because she's not complete. No.
I was very glad that
She was
that turned
Kylo.
around. Like I
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
understand.
I wanted her to come back.
Yeah, well, and I understood her choice. Like, it was one of those things where it's like, I do understand, when the hurt get power, they tend to hurt others.
Mhm.
That
She was like, it's just all pain. I'm gonna end it all, which is
yeah,
like kind
and
of
so
like
it's
it was understandable to a point.
yeah, and even the story itself, even though she's been on this humanizing journey, I still saw that as yeah, that makes sense. That's on brand. But at the same time, it was also on brand that that's not the end for her as well. And I appreciate so
Yeah.
much that it doesn't stop there. She had her tantrum.
Yes.
She got it out. Realized, oh crap, I'm just becoming what I hated.
Yes.
And everything. I'm just repeating the cycle. And the
Fantastic character development.
but
Absolutely.
and that shows the character development because when she realizes that, she stops. She undoes like that's the big thing is like that's where all of this journey's been worth it because you realize when you are not being who you are or should be, you
Have a
stop.
Snickers. Oh,
Yeah, well, I mean, you eat your
Right.
metaphorical
You want to
Eternia
destroy the
Snickers.
universe when you're hungry.
Exactly. Exactly. So, anyway, I like Evelyn more than Tila was the thing for me. If it's not
Wow.
clear, like I really was more. And now I
It
will
was
say, like
both,
for
man.
Tila, everything for me was with
Yes.
her father. I loved that dynamic. So it's sort of a shared thing there. It's not all about Tila. Um, I liked the Tila and Adams stuff too. Like I enjoyed. I liked that she built her character through her relationships, or I should say the writers and the production built her character through the relationships, um, because that's where a lot of the value came for me. And so for me with Tila, it's the relationships, not just her individual
Mm.
development. With Evelyn, it's all her. It's her and her journey and everything. And so and I'm not saying that as a this is the way it is. That's just how I read it and interpreted it, and that's what it meant to me. So that's why for me, I'm cheerleading for Evelyn the whole time. Like even when she was bad, I was just like, yeah.
We
Like
go together.
I
I
was
mean, I was
Destroy
partially
them.
I was
it's like,
partially there too because again, like the whole like her backs, they dropped.
yeah,
I'm sorry, you dropped that your parents tried to eat you because I'm
exactly.
like,
Right.
like okay, go off, Queen. Like
Kevin
it's
Kevin
fine.
Kevin Smith saw The Last Jedi and was just like, I can do worse. Right? Not drinking money.
Yeah.
No, they were gonna drink her. Like, whoa. So
You don't
yeah,
remind me. Sorry, I'm reading Shadow of the Sith right now.
Oh my
Oh.
god, dude.
Okay.
Anyway,
Save it.
well, let's move on. Let's
Save
move
it.
on.
Episode 6
So
and a
I
half.
will say for Tila, I did love though that there was like Tila kind of found herself, I think, by the end of it, and I loved her confidence that she got by the end because she was always like kind of the second fiddle, and her whole interaction with her mother
Yeah.
at like that baptismal like area where
Yeah.
it's like, hey, give this up, and I loved that she was like, they're like, oh, this is the only way it works. No, I'm gonna take it and
Yep.
do it my way. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's really interesting. That's really cool. I loved her interactions. Like, you don't get to say that to me, but then like kind of like reconciling with her mother. And
Yeah.
also, real quick, I thought it was a great interaction between He-Man. I think it was right when He-Man finally bests Skeletor, and he goes, "It's not about us."
Yes.
Right.
I thought
He
that
should
was
have
a
looked at the
great.
camera with that one.
Right.
That was a great
Exactly.
line. It's not all about us,
And
like
it's
I thought that was a great line, especially with the back and forth of what was happening with Tila and Evelyn. Like all of that was just well crafted.
You make a
Well
good point
crafted.
with Tila and the sorceress as well. Like that was a
So
shift.
interesting.
That was a shift for me for sure. I like that's probably the biggest thing with Tila's character for me is that like thank you for the power, thank you for making me who I am, but I'm gonna do this my way. I will throw
I'm
so
getting
many
chills
Dogecoins. I
right
will
now.
invest so much crap into stories like that because like that's my jam.
Where did you get Doge coins?
But
Where did you get Doge
that's a
coins?
thing, right?
Yes, it is a thing, but
Yeah.
where did you get them?
I
The
don't know. I just
I
hear
got
things
them
on the
from
internet
the
and I say them to
Doge
sound
Bank.
cool.
Exactly. The She Bank.
But so and you hit on something though, Jerry, that I think again for me it's like she grew through her relationships because for so long and especially in the original show, yeah, she's the second fiddle. exists and has purpose through these other characters. And that's a big catalyst for the conflict, is her feeling betrayed. Like, I existed based on
Completely
these
justified.
parameters with you, and y'all lied. Like, everything I thought I was and invested in feels like it was a lie. And so building a new relationship with her father, building a new relationship with Adam, like, all of that stuff was so good. It's just like that self-exploration through relationships. Man, we're talking about Masters of the Universe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, who would
Well,
have
like
thunk?
the fact that also too, like, she had very frank conversations with each of those characters.
Yes.
She told them how she felt, and they were still able to work. It's just like it's like, I'm just like, more people should watch this and learn a lesson.
Yes.
Like,
Oh,
you could, like, you don't have
right.
to like completely just like throw people away sometimes, you know, like, I mean, the
Sometimes.
time comes for that, but it was just, again, so interesting. It's like unendingly interesting to me that she was like, no, I'm going to tell you what I think, but then we can make this work. We're
Yeah.
doing it, you know, and it's
I-
just, that was refreshing. It was different. I liked it. So
Yeah, all the stuff with her and Adam in the afterlife, especially too.
Mhm.
yes.
All that.
I too want to go
Oh.
to Soul Afterlife, please.
Well, I was gonna say
Muscle
one of the
milk.
great lines. But I don't know. Were you gonna say something about this? Like he just killed everyone in heaven. Was like one of the
Yes.
best effing lines of all time. I'm like, that's a badass line.
That's some power. Chris,
But anyway, Chris, please.
your favorites. Obviously, we've talked a lot about a lot.
I'm trying to think. All right, so one of the things that stands out is King Grayskull,
Mhm.
and for me, that's awesome to see, because there are not many of us in Eternia apparently who are heroes. So seeing that he was the first and all that was pretty dope. It was great to see that. With Tila, as far as the sorceress being her mother, that was something that was hinted at in the Filmation series.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been waiting so long for them to do more with that. They've done it in the comics. Even like some of the comic books for the action figures, they've done it. And they did it in the comics later on. But to see it in the series and for them to, fully realize that, and then have it go further than, oh, she kind of knows, and then they take the memory away, because that's how it happened in the Filmation thing. The fact that happened, I thought was incredible. Still, the Triclops being this techno priest, and having this techno cult, I thought was amazing.
Yes.
I liked Hamill's Skeletor. I know people are like, oh, he just sounds like the Joker. I'm like, you say that because you know that he does the Joker's voice. That's his voice. But Alan Oppenheimer, who was a voice of Skeletor, was Mossman in this thing, and I was like, why don't we just use him? But I'm like, he's 80. There's no way he can. I could barely do that voice anymore. You know what I mean? And I'm like 40 years younger than that guy. So, just everything about this. There was nothing to me that I thought was wasted. It was a damn good Masters of the Universe story, and I want them to do more where He-Man is a part of it. But let's dive into some of these other characters. Man, give me an arc about Ram Man right now.
Yes.
Right.
I want that. Go into these other characters and get their whole thing. I love that. Loved it.
Well, what this show did was it put everything like that on the table. Like, this next series that we're getting, like, who knows who could take the forefront of the story now?
And when is this supposed to come out?
No date yet, but I'm assuming next year, since it was announced. So they're probably going to start working on it, and it's probably going to be a 2-part deal, beginning and end of summer, like it was last year. So it just makes kind of sense. And again, with them to announce it without a date tells me probably outside of a year.
Yeah.
I mean, could be sooner. They could surprise us, but
I'm with it.
I'm excited.
Give me more Eternia.
Mhm.
All of it.
You know,
Makes
if
complete
they're going
sense.
to go with the Hordak stuff, I think that'd be fantastic.
Well,
If
and that's
they continue with that, yeah.
Yeah.
and that leads me to my next thing. Do you have
Adora,
any hopes for the next one?
Adora.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
If you're bringing in Hordak,
I
you
don't know
got to
what's
do
going
something.
on, but
You know, with She-Ra, they gotta
Yeah.
they gotta toss a little something in there. I think.
as well
I
as they've done with this, I kind of hope they do. Like
Yeah.
I want them to fold in She-Ra and the Princesses of Power a little bit.
Ah
A
man,
little bit.
that would be
Y'all
a
want Catra?
weird crossover.
so
I'm down with that, honestly.
well, but no, like I'd love this. Like I'd love if it's one of those things where it comes into the fold and like the story beats of the original show follow
Yes.
it, right? Like the
Right.
everything that happened in Princesses of Power happened.
If it's just She-Ra and Catra walking by, that's fine, honestly.
But I think I think it can still work because that
Yeah.
Hordak who was in the She-Ra show was just, it was Project Snoke.
Yeah.
You know, that's all that was.
He was
So
there.
yeah, they could do that and then have like Hordak Prime or or whatever be
Yeah.
the villain in this one. And then
They
there's
could
some
do
way
the
that they could-
Mandarin thing where it's just like, hey, we threw it away the first time, but now we were serious about it,
Exactly.
and then we also kill him in this movie too.
Yeah.
But you know,
But this time, he has a daughter.
yes.
Mm.
But no, yes, I would love for them to fold in those things as we've talked about. Like I said, I think they could fully do it where they respect that universe's story. They could go unique with it. I would love to see, like, I don't remember the storyline, but where like all the snake stuff.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
Like I'd like to see. I mean, we've already seen the whole like
Vision,
Skeletor gets
right?
a power up.
Or like Snake Mountain.
No, the Snake Men. It's
Yeah.
a whole thing.
At
Or never
some
mind.
point,
Never mind.
Yeah,
at
King
some
Cobra,
point,
Cobra
like,
Khan, all those guys.
the whole
yeah.
evil
Yeah.
cast takes a rotation,
Go back to my
and
newbie corner.
it's
Here.
all snake themed villains.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Skeletor even gets like snake powers and everything. Like it was all to sell toys, but it was super cool. And for the longest, it was the only Skeletor toy I had was this snake powered one.
Why didn't
wow.
you
Um,
keep it?
I was a dumb child. What can I tell you?
Could have had that on that shelf.
Could have. We'll get it on eBay. But yeah, and so for me, it's nostalgic in that of just like I want Snake Skeletor. I would like if like we're going this
Snellets?
techno cult with Hordak. All right, cool. Have that over here, and let's have Skeletor seek out additional power ups and get Snake Boys in his corner. Like, let's make this a 3-way, you know? Or no, let's make it a 4-way because then we have the Masters of the Universe and She-Ra, like they team up. The Colt and Skeletor team up.
There you go.
There's your
Well, I was
story.
gonna say
Kevin
yeah,
Smith.
because like I would think the next villain would be Motherboard or whatever, just from the way the series this season ends. But again,
Well,
that's me not knowing
was-
any of the lore and everything.
yeah,
Like Mecha
because that's all
Skeletor. whatever.
Hordak. That's all
Mhm.
Hordak based.
So
Yeah,
it
motherboard thing.
Okay, all right,
opens
all right.
that it opens
I'll
the
I'm
send you a
door
down.
for it.
Wikipedia
I'm
article.
down.
It's one of those things, Jerry, where it's like if you're getting Darth Maul, you're getting Darth Sidious too.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So
I
yeah.
will learn.
Bring
I
it
will
back to
learn.
Star Wars.
We will teach you.
Yeah.
When
See,
the
we
next
are a
season
Star Wars podcast at the end of the day. But
Gotta
yeah,
bring in Maul at any given point.
it's one of those things where it's like honestly, I was kind of surprised we're getting more, so I didn't form a lot of expectations, but I do have a lot of hopes. But most of them are very untethered, like they're just jumbly, like ooh, this would be cool kind
Untethered
of
hopes.
thoughts.
That's the nerd herder
Mhm.
way.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna base if they approach it with the same heart they approached this first thing with, they're
It's gonna
gonna
be
they're
spectacular.
gonna do right by me. I'm gonna love it.
I just
So-
hope they keep going forward with what they want to write instead of letting any kind of outside
Yeah,
influences
don't
and
pull a
comment
George
section, all
Lucas.
that stuff.
I don't feel
Just
like Kevin
do your
Smith
thing.
does that,
I
but
don't know, man.
but you never know. Like
Like I
I
said,
feel like Kevin's like I want to do the story I want to do is how
Exactly.
he usually is. I mean,
I think-
sausage nuts
I
is for
think-
crying.
And
out
he's got a fantastic team of writers too.
Yeah.
I
So,
think Kevin is the same level.
Oh, right,
of,
he's
and I
more
could
direct.
be wrong, but I think he's much like George Lucas, where he gives that vibe of no, he's going to do whatever he wants, but he he fundamentally thinks he's doing what he wants, but he is still influenced. Like George Lucas pulled back Jar Jar.
Open to ideas.
Yeah,
Right?
like George Lucas changed up some established ideas for the prequel trilogy based on how Episode 1 did. Am I disappointed knowing that? Yeah, because I love Episode 1. Do I love what we got? Yeah, because I think they're great too. But it is one of those things where it's like he thinks, oh no, I'm telling the story I want to tell, but he's still under the influence of the fans, and it's hard not to
It's
be, right? It's
unfortunate.
hard.
Yeah.
It is hard not to be. But that's why I say, like, if you keep the heart, and that's the thing, right? George Lucas might have changed after '99 what his plans for the prequels were, but the heart of what he was doing was always still there.
Yes.
Whether he changed motives or changed the influence of characters, didn't matter because the heart was there. As long as the team behind this do the same thing, even if they do include more Adam and He-Man, that's fine. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying keep the same spirit that you had for the first one, where make it worth it. Like, don't just put in Muscle Man for the heck of it. Like, give it a point.
Right.
Like, because what this show has proven is this ridiculous 80s influenced modern animation has a lot of heart, a lot of emotion,
And it works.
and it works well for who it works for. And I am sorry to all the people whose childhoods were apparently ruined by this.
Fuck 'em.
I I don't know what to tell you.
Yes.
They do
like-
childhoods.
I mean, it's the same thing with people that are so up in arms on Star Wars stuff still, and I'm like, guys, just
Fuck them.
move on. Like, watch what you like, move on.
Exactly. Nobody's taking
exactly.
the original Masters of the Universe away from you.
Nope,
No
still
one's
there.
taking away your
It's
toys.
still there. Yep. And that's the thing, is it's just like, if you wanna sit in your corner and be unhappy about it, that's fine. We're gonna be over here enjoying what we enjoy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Masters of the Universe Revelation is on that list, thankfully. There is another Netflix Masters of the Universe.
I still need to watch that.
I was gonna say same thing. It's way
Yes.
more kiddie. I know that, but I really
Haven't
like the
watched
art
it yet.
style.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the figures in store, and I really dig the art style. There's something about the super exaggerated style of it that's very old school Cartoon Network to me.
And do yourself a favor, watch the episode of The Toys That Made Us on Masters of the Universe, because that is an excellent show.
Yeah. Also, Toy Galaxy is his YouTube channel called Toy Galaxy.
Yes,
And they do, okay, you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
they
Yeah,
check them out. They actually recently did one on the Masters of the Universe film.
Mhm.
And you know what? If our episode with Chris a few weeks ago made no sense about Transformers, and you are just like, I don't know what they were talking about, Toy Galaxy has a great few episodes on not only the film, but the original G1 show, and also
Yeah.
some of the American Japanese stuff as
Yes.
well. Really
But
great.
but
Great
if you learned anything from that episode that I was on for Transformers, don't watch the Michael Bay Transformers movies.
Or
I'm sorry. I'm
Just watch
Or-
the first one. Just watch the first one.
No, don't watch
I
it.
liked the first one.
All right, Gerry, you're on for that episode. Done
already
deal. We're gonna
sign them up.
Also, that
Bayformers,
Linkin Park song, great.
right?
Exactly.
All I'm saying is the films might not have been perfect, but they definitely declined
Take me
when they
seriously,
stopped including
Chris.
Linkin Park.
Exactly. There are very few movies that you can put an early 2000s
Not
song in and it
perfect.
will immediately improve the movie. House of Wax was another one.
Bayformers, more than meets the eye. All I'm saying.
I mean,
Ugh.
I definitely like the song just because,
Oh.
for some reason, the marriage of that song and that movie, again, like you're saying, it
was
really
funny.
that made it all worth it. So
Cogman was funny, and he was the only good part of the last night. I stand by that statement.
Anyways.
Yeah. So in the future, we will be evangelizing all of you to the way
Bad
of the
word.
Bayformer.
Don't use that word.
No, here's the thing. All right, do I think they're perfect? No.
Sorry.
I just like them, and you know what? I think there's parts
He
of them
thinks they're neat.
that work. I actually rearranged my
Mhm.
Bayformer collection back behind us today. So
That's another development since the last time we talked about Transformers. I got my first Transformer and I transformed it
Boop,
myself.
yes, they did. Boop got their first Transformer. Two Transformers technically. One of
Proud
them
of you,
doesn't
Sid.
One of them does not
transform.
transform. And that's
They're
fine.
still doing that.
All I wanted was Skeletor in his coronation, get up, and I got him. Not Skeletor,
Starscream.
Starscream, same character.
Which
shut up.
one did you get? The masterpiece one, or did you get like the
No,
smaller?
the
No.
RED. So they're almost like
Does it come with the
It
throne?
does.
It comes with a cape. It
Yeah, I
comes
was
with
selling
the
those.
crown.
Yeah, I saw those at the shop.
So-
Yeah, dude.
It's so cool.
if here's the thing, to anybody out there that likes Transformers, especially some of the more classic ones,
Don't watch the Bay
that doesn't
movies.
want to fiddle with the transformy bits, they make action figures now
Yes,
that are
they do.
actually kind of spectacular. Like
He is so posable.
I hadn't messed with him until Boop was like, I think I like Starscream now, and I was like, all right, bet I got you. And so that figure is kind of I'm kind of jelly actually.
You can't have it.
It's pretty cool.
It's mine.
But
I
no,
did a store display with at the shop for because I have that Starscream figure with the with the crown, the cape, the throne, and all that stuff. So I have this thing centerpiece where it's him, and he's just like just sitting on the throne chilling, and there's like a battle damaged Megatron and a battle damaged Optimus Prime like at his
Nice.
feet.
I love store displays that have fun with it. Now
Exactly.
that's the one I want. I want the new Studio Series one that comes with the throne and everything.
Yes.
I love me some Starscream, and I love that
Same.
you love Starscream now.
I do.
And you know what? That's the beauty of Nerd Herder is we hope something gets to you somehow. Either we get under your skin and offend you with our positivity,
I'm fine with
or
that.
we convince you onto the light side. Join us and love what you love. It's actually a lot more fun. If not, you know what? I hear Star Wars Theory needs the subs, so go check it out.
Don't give him a platform.
No, just stay
anyway.
over here.
I love these boys.
And speaking of these boys, what kind of content y'all got coming up? Because you guys podcast much better than us on your own channel. So what y'all got in the works that our peeps can check out? Gerry, you want to start off?
Well, as of right now, and thank you for being so kind and to like Scotty and I do not podcast well. We do whatever the Bombadcast is, I guess, kind of well, but that depends on I think your tolerance
It's under the podcast tab.
of stuff. We'll say we've tried to do new clips, and by the way, each week we have a new clip that gets copyright. Like you can't do that one, or we got banned in a few countries because we played the Vincent McMahon clip about the NWO having cancer. We got like banned in some countries from that clip. But anyway, so if you want like weirdness and bombadness, Christina,
I'm just saying.
yes. It's very bombad. And
big bombad boys.
Listen, we actually did just launch our Patreon this last week.
Yeah.
Actually last night. Like today's like the first official day. Like we had a lot of hackers hack their way into it and everything. Early to give us money. Like people just like banging down the doors to give us money.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But
we could use some hackers.
come check out that with like it's like a base price $7. You can do that or name your price and then hang out and you get all the perks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, I will say, I don't know if Christina's still up for it, but apparently we're gonna watch Grease with Christina eventually, possibly on there, because I've never seen it. I said it on a stream and I remember Christina, I'm gonna hold you to it.
Let me in.
If you want to come on with me and Scotty, we'll do some Patreon content. We'll watch.
I've never seen that movie.
To Grease or Grease 2 or whichever one it is.
I think
we can react to both of them.
Gerry, and do me a favor and give her my contact info because I would love to have her on the show, but she keeps ignoring me whenever I message her.
Rudeness.
This is
I'm gonna rewind it. I'm gonna rewind it back to the fact that I have not seen Grease or Grease 2.
Because you're degenerate. You don't know what it means to be a cool writer.
Wow.
Is Grease 2 the one with Diego Luna?
No, that's not even.
Is that Dirty
Grease.
Dancing 2?
That's Dirty Dancing 2.
Oh, okay. I knew it was in one. I haven't seen any of those. I haven't seen any of them. Okay, unless Rogue One counts as a Grease 3 or Dirty Grease Dancing 3. I haven't seen any of it.
Dirty Grease Dancing 3.
Come on.
Honestly.
Oh, Christina says she's never ignored you, Chris.
I missed a whole era of film, apparently.
You better check yourself before you wreck yourself, Chris.
There was one.
Now you got to come on and
Um,
fight him about it, Christina. Come on, Broaxium, and fight him.
Please.
But listen,
Don't fight me. I'm not a good arguer. I'm
Broaxium.
not a good arguer at all.
Is that the third
terrible.
one?
But
Or is that the
come
second
on,
one?
come on,
Wait, was
Bombadcast.
Diego
We'll talk
Luna
about how
Dirty Dancing?
Ghostbusters.
Yes, he
He's
is.
in the
About how
second one.
Extreme Ghostbusters is a good show, actually. I'm just saying.
You said Extreme is good?
Extreme.
Is it?
Extreme Ghostbusters.
It's got extreme in the name. It's got to be good.
It's got to be.
That's so 90s.
I'm
Christopher,
just saying.
Where can people find you?
It's
Yes, what
drinking
you got
Mountain.
going
They're
on?
drinking Mountain Dew and kicking ghosts' ass. It's great.
Let's do it.
the
Whenever you're
family
ready,
Lando
Christina, we
showdown.
can do the showdown whenever you want. Let's go.
Showdown written by AI.
So
no.
good.
Make it
With
Don't
happen.
poorly
give-
applied
Do
mustache.
not give them any ideas, please.
Christina's got to wear the mustache and cape too, though.
Please.
Let's do it.
Come on. We've just
Um,
written a great episode for
Matt,
There
write
it
that
is.
down.
Don't do it,
y'all. He's
Matt.
asleep. It's Australia.
Matt's in
What are
the
you
other
talking
Oh
closet.
no,
about?
he's up.
Right.
He's up.
I don't know
Trust
what
me.
time it is in Australia. I honestly haven't been convinced it exists, but whatever.
I hear you have to be a convict to live there, which explains a lot.
A Bombad musical
ah.
would be amazing.
Wait a
There you
minute.
go.
Patreon stretch goal. We're
Hey,
we're making all kinds of
stretch
content
goal.
for you guys.
If we listen, if you buy the 25 grand drink that we offered on the show last night,
on the
It's
Bombad,
actually-
on the Bombad cruise.
It's
We'll do
just a jar of Scotty's bathwater. That's the entire cocktail.
Oh, Christopher.
Please tell us what
I'm
you
not
got
I'm
going
not
on.
confirming
Tell it
nor
to-
denying.
Let's see. All right, so Sunday nights you can find us doing Shooting the Poodoo live, where we talk about stuff and literally just shoot the proverbial shit.
With Christina, apparently.
We'll see. We'll see if she doesn't ignore me again. Tuesdays we have our quick shots where we preview that week's Star Wars comics. This week we got the speaking of $5,000 drinks, the Halcyon Legacy #4 comes out, which is all these stories that are based within the Halcyon ship. It's to sell to to advertise the thing, but it's dope. The story's cool.
It's gonna end. The last panel's gonna be that cocktail. Guaranteed.
gonna.
I'm calling it now.
That issue
Is
is
the
going to be
Halcyon
so
series-
expensive.
All my
Is the
issues are
Halcyon
expensive.
series the one where Padme and Anakin
Yes.
were fighting American Gladiator style?
Yes.
Yes.
A lot of
Yeah.
things
Okay.
happen. Yeah, but
I
yeah,
love it.
that's
And
in
this
there.
one, Lando, and I got to read it. I got it. I just picked it up from because I work in a comic shop, so I get shit early. But Lando and Hondo are having an adventure with Maz, and I'm like, give me that right now.
There was only
So I'm
one
looking forward
bed.
to that.
Yep.
Oh, see, you made it. You make it dirty.
Hondo
No,
at the
made
game.
it just
You made it-
exactly
you
what
made
it
it,
needed to
Gerry.
be.
Hondo and Lando would be.
Mm-mm-mm.
Maz would probably go sleep on the floor.
She's gonna sleep with the puffer pigs.
I
Exactly.
was like, "Where's my
I've
boyfriend?"
learned
Is it
anything,
Wait, for a Wookiee?
What-
She is committed.
wherever Lando is, puffer pigs are not far behind.
No,
Uh,
guys got to make a living.
but yes, and Blue Bantha, as we discuss the lovely Lando.
Yep, we have a. Let's see. Was it next? I think it's next week. We're doing the AI script for episode 4.75, and this is my first time writing, with the AI, and I did a couple scenes for this thing, and it's ridiculous.
Your own demise.
It's so stupid. Like it's so dumb in the best way
it's
possible.
just what it
So
needs to be.
I hope you guys enjoy.
We
Yeah,
always do.
so we got that.
Always.
And then this week, I think Wednesday or Thursday, one of our podcast, our crew, the Star Bros, have their podcast coming out. I forgot what they're talking about on this one, but it's going to be. Listen, if you love easy listening Star Wars conversations, the Star Bros are the ones that you got to check out for sure.
Lord knows, don't come to us.
And we've been inspired by Scotty and Gerry, where we have a Patreon too, but it sucks. So
Whatever.
we got a guy we're working with, someone who may be a father of pods, who's going to help us to get our stuff together and
Get
make
this
an
man
action.
Are you
$5.
working with Jesus?
Yes,
Yes.
the daughter of
The-
Pods. Jesus. Pete Blitzer.
But,
don't give him too much.
We're gonna
ego.
we're gonna
Star Wars podcast Jesus.
he's gonna help us get our shite together for our I'll tell you I was
Listen.
like, man, these guys got this thing, they got it going on. I love this. And I look at ours, I'm like, there's nothing going on.
Maybe
so
we
yeah,
need
It's a
to raise the
requirement for the
Godfather ourselves.
Bombadcast Patreon. You have to join the Broaxium Patreon as well.
And there you
That's a
go.
requirement. We're just putting on there.
There it
now.
is.
I'm just saying.
Jerry,
I
it's
love
so
it.
crazy.
It looks
'cause
like
we're
And
we're
vice
losing
versa, sir.
subscribers.
Oh
No,
no,
I'm just
no!
playing. I'm
It's-
just playing.
It's
I'm
so
playing.
it's so crazy because we actually have the same requirement. Yeah, so
Exactly.
you join Nerd Herder. It's a package deal.
It's
You
the
don't get
weird
it for
space
free. You do have to
friends.
pay for
It's
both.
how it
but
goes.
We're weird. We're in
Weird
space.
is
We
space
are
friends.
friends.
you
It's
you
part
join
of the tapestry.
you join one of us. You join
Yeah.
all of us, right? Like man,
That's how it goes.
at some
That's how it
point we bring
goes.
out the flavor aid. It's gonna be great.
I gotta write a thread
Um,
about
The
this.
flavor and
Mhm.
pickles.
Yeah, like we're here every week doing this. As I said, we disguise it as a professional podcast, but really we just hang out with friends and chat. Obviously, you're here. You know what we're about. We'd hope you come back next week and every week after. And if you
Better.
like what we do, then you can support it because we also do have a Patreon. And like I said, package deal. You got to sub to us. You got to sub to Broaxium. You got to sub to Bombadcast. I mean, it's just you
Yeah.
know, it's just a whole milk and cookie mouse situation. But like it's worth it. It's worth it. We're trying to send our cat to college for goodness sake.
It's true. This cat is so dumb.
And you know what? If you're like, man, these guys suck. Guess what? One of the benefits to being on Patreon, you get an exclusive channel to chat with us about making episodes. So if this sucks, you have no one but to blame our patrons.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. Thank you for your
Step
money.
it up, Graeme.
I put this one solely on Justin. But no, yes, money. We would appreciate it.
Yes, money.
So we can,
Thank you. Good night.
hey,
I've
Howard,
heard of it.
we've got to pay for our Netflix subscription somehow. Otherwise, we're not going to get to talk about the next series.
Exactly, because for
So-
Pete's sake, it's going up.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Stranger Things, man, it's just sinking their budgets. That's about it. Also, Pride is $365 for us, so you can still get our Nerd Herder Pride.
We gay
Don't take pride
everyday
in
these.
us. Take pride in yourself and celebrate yourself. And buy our Pride design. Slap it on whatever you want. And every
Everything.
time you do,
Gosh.
Beautiful.
we will donate to Amidala Helps,
got
which
liquid
has
in
a
it.
link in the description you can check out, supporting Equality Texas. You'll also find a link in the description for What Choice, an initiative just started by even more cool Star Wars peoples supporting abortion rights and access to necessary health care for women and for anyone with a uterus, really.
Mhm.
So check those out. We will be coming up, much like with the Pride design, we will have something that you can check out from us that will go to support that work. We're just working on what that will be.
Yep.
But yeah, check out the links to support that. Were you going to say something, Chris? It looked like you were going to say something.
I was going to ask about the Pride thing because I didn't put up the Broaxium Pride logo like on TeePublic because I didn't know if I didn't want that money coming to me. I want that going to some kind of a charity, but I didn't know how to. Is that a thing you can do on TeePublic?
So no. So really, what it is you can see how much you get per design, and then we just make a donation of that amount to. So it's just it's kind of
bookkeeping,
we play it.
basically.
Yeah, we move the money around. It would be cool, TeePublic, if you're listening, if you could set that up to
Yes,
where
please, TeePublic
if you
was
sell
That
a
would be
certain
very,
design,
very nice. Streamline the
Yeah.
whole process.
because then it would just go straight to them and not get additional fees. Which at the end of the day, we're happy to pay whatever. We've supported personally. This is a way for you to support us and support this cause. But you can also just go directly there and do that as well. Whatever you
Links in
do,
the
I just
description.
recommend doing something. There's a lot of things happening in our world,
Please.
and
Yeah.
yeah, we talk about Star Wars and nerdy stuff. But if we've paid attention to any of these properties, it's told us to stand up for what we believe. And for those who can't stand up for themselves, or maybe are standing up but getting put down, you can all do something. Whether it is with your dollars or whether it is showing up at rallies and protests, whether it is sharing information, don't feel like you can't do something. There's so many options to help others right now. Amidala Helps and What Choice are just some of the ways.
Yeah.
And so
all the shows on here support that, please. So if you're one of our, please go right now.
Get out of there.
well,
No, go and donate is what I mean.
and-
Don't go.
yeah.
You can stay.
and do your research because 77 podcasts came together for Amidala Initiative. I'm not sure how many came together for What Choice, but I know several names were dropped. Do your research and check out all of that list. Follow all of them, because if they're supporting that,
Put that comment up, please.
we stayed long. I was rambling and preaching long enough for Christina to come back and validate Chris.
It doesn't happen very often, but once in a while, you got to validate Chris.
Every now and again.
But yes, do all
Christina,
of that.
he is what you made him.
Also, check out Christina and the lovely work she does with the Star
Yo,
Wars
I'm so
show.
jealous, Christina.
Oh
You
my
got to be on
That's-
movie.
Oh, dude.
Insane.
You deserve it
I've
though.
been
That's
like,
you deserve
I've been
it. You
so
deserve
busy
it.
at work this week and everything. Like they dropped that. Like that's congrats, Christina.
Yeah.
We're all so excited. Can't wait to
yes.
watch that.
When
Like,
I know that they
seriously.
gave you that space afro, yes, I loved it.
I'm
Oh,
just
man.
pumped. Like every time
Love
you
it.
walk past the screen when I'm watching, you're like, yeah. But like, just this
Exactly.
is it's gonna be so
Yeah.
awesome. So congrats.
So now
You
I need
have
that.
to a nicer person.
I need the Black Series figure. I need the Black Series figure. I need
Immediately.
Win.
Yesterday,
and then I
yes.
need the backstory. I got to know the
Right.
backstory.
If the
And
Jawa
is
from
she
one
Finn's
scene-
mom? What if she's Finn's mom?
Does your character
she
like the
spends-
Power Rangers movie as much as you do? And
Hey,
Ivan Ooze,
what
because
is
that's
that
what I
movie
want to know that.
If if a Jawa can get an action figure for showing up for 5 minutes,
That's what I'm saying.
Christina can get an action
Give Christina
figure.
an action
Yeah.
figure.
Please.
Yeah.
That's the next stretch goal for Nerd Herder patron. Get out there and support. And yeah,
When are we gonna do Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
check out all of our friends soon. Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we'll talk. Our people will talk to your people, and by
Yeah.
that I mean Boop will
We just-
talk to
yeah,
you.
we'll
I'll
see
scream
that.
at you.
Well, that's
Into
a-
the
I
void.
know someone in the chat who might like to talk Power
all the
Rangers.
hey,
Fine.
if that's how we get
A little
Christina
Ivan
on, I am
Ooze.
game.
I will speak
Um,
almost entirely in Ivan Ooze quotes.
That's fine.
Let's get
That's
sticky.
um,
I'm so sorry.
The movie that made me gay.
Listen, Ivan Ooze
think you
is
say that about
not-
a lot of things.
I do.
Ivan Ooze is
2000s
not in my
movie.
Nightmare Blunt rotation. Let's just put it that way. He's not in the Nightmare Blunt.
all the reasons you should be subscribed to Nerd Herder. Follow us wherever you're getting this, because all of this crazy content is coming at you at some point with all of our crazy friends. So subscribe, check it out, and if you liked it, share. Even if you just share it to be like, hey, watch these crazy people. They spent a lot of time talking about Masters of the Universe.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, we did, and we enjoyed it, and we
Time
hope
well
you did
spent.
too. We're back next week where we are switching the gears and talking about some Star Wars, but talking about one of the bestest Star Wars. We're talking about Rogue One.
Oh, yeah.
Something
Thought we were talking about Caravan
near
of
and dear
Courage.
to
Scotty
us.
went to bed.
No, that's
He hates
Christmas.
Rogue One.
Well,
what is
loves
Scotty's
Morbius.
deal?
Scotty,
What is-
He hates Rogue One. He loves
Listen.
Morbius. I don't.
I think
Okay.
he just likes
I
being
don't know
All
what
right, all right.
Don't
contrarian.
ever ask.
That second part is fantasy. I don't even believe that part. The second
No.
part with
No.
Morbius. But are you serious?
He
He really likes movies?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't
He
seen it, so I
says
can't.
it's,
I
he
can't
says
talk
it's
shit.
the new Godfather. Is what he said.
All right,
Okay.
all right,
no.
all right.
Yeah.
Have a seat. Take several seats, Scotty,
No.
on that
don't
one.
ever
But,
ask what is Scotty's deal, because we don't have time for that.
We really don't.
but how
but
can you not?
The
how can you not
podcast
like
in and of
Rogue One?
itself. Like we
I-
need Serial to cover what's the deal with Scotty J.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like,
well, we're gonna invite Scotty back on next week
For
to
Rogue
God
One?
well, not on. He can be in the audience, and hopefully we can change his mind.
Exactly.
But I do highly doubt that.
Godspeed. I love you, but anyway.
So, yes, we will be talking about Rogue One next week. What we love about
It's
it,
true. It's true. It's true.
and hopefully we'll change Scotty's mind. And yes,
I'm
do
not
not worry,
interested.
our Kenobi review is coming. That was part of our reschedule, but it's coming along with other great stuff. So all that and more back next week. But in the meantime, again, check out all the important links in the description, including where to find our lovely guests and their mini podcasts and content, as well as ways you can
I saw
help and do all of that good stuff. But until then, stay scruffy.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You know, this is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee.